All right. Hey, good morning. I'm so excited to have another breakthrough interview today with Miss Ashley. And there's a big purpose behind why we're doing these interview series. So many people think that success or happiness or whatever it is that you're going after is just this instantaneous overnight thing that just magically happens. And I want to try to prove, because we know it's true, that that's not the way it happens. There's a lot of grit, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of resilience muscles that are built along the journey, and there's a lot of investing in yourself that no one truly wants to talk about until they've made it. So we're going to break down those barriers. If you are new to me, I am Meg. I'm a self-sabotage coach and relationship repair coach. So with yourself and with other people. And I want to have people that are in my circle that I love and trust on here to talk about their journey of how they made breakthroughs in their life. So today, Ashley, who studied integrative nutrition like I did, she lives on an amazing farm where she raises her own animals and she cooks like crazy, and she has the cutest little son, Oliver. Building her dream barn and everything is going to be on here just to have a little bit of a different approach in the things that she did to get to where she is now. And she's going to share some things that can help you at the very end of this video. So Ashley, welcome.
Hey, hi guys. Yes, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Meg.
Absolutely.
Yep, so my name's Ashley Hewitt, and I'm a holistic health coach. And like Meg said, I have a small farm. So I feel those things kind of go hand in hand because I can teach people how to eat real food, and I can also show you how to grow the food if that's your interest. If not, no big deal. So that's what I do. I've been certified since 2017, and I was just helping people in person. I did a lot of consulting with people after they saw a functional medicine doctor. I would help them kind of go through their labs and the changes that the doctor recommended making. And now I'm taking everything online.
Woo! All right. So the fun part that I feel like people don't always want to share is like the guts and the heart and the hustle behind how you got into this. So share a little bit of your battles, your personal battles, any of the battles that you face that are a big part of your why now. And then we'll get through to the breakup piece of that, but start with the battles that you face.
So I was an athlete my entire life. I played at the college level, and I was healthy my whole life, other than I do have Hashimoto's and I don't have a thyroid. So that was the only thing I had against me, but I dealt with it just fine. It wasn't ever a problem. And in 2013, I had Oliver, my son, he's 7. And after I had him, I just had debilitating postpartum depression and anxiety, almost to the point of psychosis. It was pretty severe. And a lot of it was just due to lack of sleep because I'd never been a mom and I didn't know what I was doing. And so I was shuttled from doctor to doctor to doctor trying to get help. My family was trying to get help for me, and they wanted me to take medication. And I did maybe for a week, but that's not what I wanted to do long term. And my ex-husband, I'm divorced now, but my ex-husband and I had already started a farm where we were raising our own food. And so I dove into how can I heal my body through nutrition. And so that's where, so I did that. And actually that's when I learned about the problem with gluten and thyroid disorders. And so that's when I went gluten-free, and just that alone made a huge difference in my health and my mind, my anxiety, everything. And that's when I realized, so before that, I was probably the person that looked like I had it all together. I looked, everything was perfect. I would never tell anyone if I was struggling. And once that happened, I really, truly felt like, sorry if I cry a little bit, but I really, truly felt like if I was to go through this, it had to be for a reason. And so I shared about it.
You're making me cry. We're criers.
And so I knew that I had to really focus on how to help teach other people what I was doing so that other people wouldn't have to suffer the way I did. And so that's when I got my certification from IIN. And I started a blog, And this has kind of been a theme in my life that we can talk about with the self-sabotage, because the theme is I'll do something and be super nervous about putting it out there, and then I'll have a huge response. And then I get scared and I panic and I don't do anything with it because it feels like too much. And so that first week that I posted about the postpartum depression, at the time I didn't know what any of these numbers meant, but I had 500 people sign up for my email list and like 20,000 people read this blog post. And I didn't know anything about it. And somebody looked at it and was like, that's a lot of people. So I just stopped. And I could have taken that in such a, I could have helped so many people, but I felt paralyzed and I didn't do anything. And so I went through, in that same time frame, I lost my stepdad to cancer in a few months, and I went through a divorce. And so it was just a really trying time in my life. And it was hard for me to help other people because I myself was just not in a good place. And I don't know if you want me to start getting into how I kind of worked through those battles, or.
Well, I want to dive into that a little bit deeper first. I feel like when you're called to help people and you don't always know that that's the journey yet, you might like love the things that you're learning about yourself. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like people need this, because if I could have had this resource when I was struggling really bad, like I could have, made this go a lot faster. But I think one of the things that happens, and it sounds like it's happened with you, it's definitely happened with me, when you go through tragedy, when you go through things that like make you turn into a hot mess for a little bit, it's hard because you want to give your clients, you want to give people in your audience, you want to give people that depend on you your best. And when you are a mess, it's hard to give people your best. But sometimes just getting back up and being resilient is enough, because you give them hope. Like, man, like what is it in her? I want that. And do you feel like that's kind of part of what you felt more recently as you're putting yourself out there?
Yeah. I think I resonate with people that aren't 50 steps ahead of me, but just a couple steps ahead of me, because I feel like they're closer to that feeling of, it's fresher what it feels like to be in that place. So I know, like at that time I was feeling better, and I think I had, I don't even know how many emails I answered, because postpartum depression, anxiety isn't hot, at least then it wasn't very talked about. And I definitely didn't have all the answers, and I wasn't an expert on it, but I did get through it. And yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah. No, but I think that that's the thing. I think that sometimes people don't see that aspect, because it's like you were going through a lot already. So then to take on more, especially when you want to give people your all and you really want to have them have a breakthrough, this is where the whole investment in yourself comes in, where like I describe it as like we talked about your battles, and you figure out what the battles are going on in your life. But now we have to break up with the bully that's trying to keep you down and keep you stuck and keep you. And you can fill in the bully with whatever you want: Satan, the devil, ego, yourself, whatever it is. But in order to get out of your own way in that realm, it involves sometimes like doing the tough work. It involves sacrificing something so that you can get help. So what did that look like for you? I know part of what you've done. How did you start investing in yourself, and what did you feel like as you did that?
So yeah, prior to the business I have now, I tried for many years to get it off the ground, and I had all the business courses. I probably am up to $10,000 in business courses. I had all the mechanics to do it, and I still couldn't do it. And so last year I invested in a coach that really helped me. I would tend towards the codependency personality type, where not necessarily that I have to have someone in my life to be satisfied, but I'm going to focus on helping someone else instead of helping myself. And I'm going to project where I need to be fixing things for other people and not take care of myself. And so she really helped me shift my mindset, and the circumstances that I am in, those are just circumstances, and everything that I have control of is within. And that's where I need to spend the time. And so and she was the most expensive investment I made in myself, but it completely changed my life. And she really, the mindset shift was missing, because I knew how to do all the business side of things. I actually helped run my stepdad's business for 14 years. I knew all that stuff, but
what level of business was that at? Just tell them what level of business that was at financially.
it was a multi-million-dollar business.
So
Yeah.
it's like, see what she's saying? Like she's saying she had all the things, she had all the tools, but there's something that if it's missing, it's just not going to produce the results you want. And it's up here.
Right.
And us standing in our own way. So as you were getting coached, she was essentially teaching you how to break up with the things that were holding you back, correct?
Right. Yep. She was helping me shift from, excuse me, she was helping me shift from not necessarily victim mentality, but instead of focusing on, oh, these other things are the problem's up here, what do I need to conquer or face, or where do I need to shift to be able to put myself out there? And I don't know. I don't know why I had some of the thought processes that I did, but once I figured out like those aren't true, those aren't real, then everything changed for me.
Was coaching easy?
No.
That's another thing. I had heard this and I'm like, I told my coach this is so true. When you sign up for coaching, you're signing up for anxiety too, because you have to face your stuff. Like they're going to hold you accountable to face your stuff, but it's going to start to feel so much better when you have relief from the baggage.
Yep. I looked forward to the calls, but I also knew that I had to be in the right emotional space for the calls, because it looked at all the places I didn't want to look at. And it made me come to terms with why I was in the position I was in. It was all because of my own self-sabotage and because of my own lack of, and this is where I think a lot of people don't understand, but you don't know what you don't know. So I didn't know I needed a mindset shift. I didn't even know this stuff existed. And by the grace of God, she fell into my life through literally an Instagram post that popped up. Then I'm like, how does she know this about me?
She knows me.
Yeah. And I called her that day and I'm like, I know you don't have any, or I messaged her. I'm like, I know you don't have any appointments till next week, but I need to talk to you right now. And she's like, she said in that message, she knew I was going to work with her just by my urgency to meet with her. And I hired her on the spot. And she just completely helped me realize what was missing. And that missing piece was the key for everything going forward then.
Isn't it crazy? Because we've had this talk privately, but how much we think coaching or what it takes to invest in yourself, the financial piece of it, you look at and you're like, sometimes like, but then if you look at how much longer you're going to be stuck,
right,
is going to take from your life, and time is everything. It's the only thing you can't get back. Then you can rationalize with yourself, okay, like we got to make this happen now. Like I'll make the money back. I'll figure out a way. I will dig for quarters. I will dig somewhere. I will work a second job. I'll work a third job. Like, how did you make that shift for you to know that you had to do that right now? And you had to take that step? Because a lot of people, I think, are missing that jump.
I was at a point where I felt like I had exhausted every option that I could come up with on my own. And I did not see a way forward in all the big ideas that I had and the life I wanted to live and the relationships I wanted to have. And I was basically a Hail Mary, like I need to change. And I feel that this is how I'm going to change. And I will do whatever it takes to make this happen so that because I could see past, like, if everything that she was telling me was going to come true for me, I could see past what that looked like despite the money, because now that money is nothing compared to what I do now for investing in myself. And so I guess maybe that was my first mindset shift, where it's an investment, it's not an expense. So I'm going to get that money back and then some.
Yep.
By spending it. Yeah.
So how long did you work with her for?
Just over 3 months.
Oh, it was only 3 months?
Well, the big part of her program that helped me the most is I talked to her every day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we had a weekly call that was supposed to be an hour. We usually went over. And then I had access to her every day, because like when you're going through therapy or whatever it is that you're trying to get help with, it's hard. I was seeing a counselor, but I couldn't always wait that next week or sometimes even 2 weeks if she didn't have an appointment for me. I needed help in that moment. And
Right.
so with this, that's really what attracted me to her, was that she offered that. I mean, I was the highest tiered client she had, but it was
That's
totally worth it. So
I
that,
didn't know it was like that. So it's like super deep dive, like
Mhm.
every single
Oh
day.
yeah, there were online like back end courses. Talked to her every day if I needed to, and she got right back with me. And then we had a weekly call.
That's awesome. What do you think the three biggest things were that you learned from coaching with her? And it doesn't even have to be from her. It could be even with yourself, like trusting yourself or like showing up, consistency, whatever. What do
Yeah, the first thing is like you're the only person standing in your own way.
you Yes.
That was it,
It's
because I
tough
was
to
totally
swallow.
coming up with problems that didn't have to be there.
Mhm.
Because, I think like you specialize in, it was a form of self-sabotage, because in the past I had experienced like quick success and I didn't know how to handle it. So I was afraid of that coming again and then not knowing how to handle it. So I would just completely, not even open myself up to any sort of success, because in the past I didn't know how to handle it. And so I think that realizing like, then that's like, I now make a list of everything that I need to, any problem I have, or how, like what I need to keep growing. If I would have just put that on a list and been like, have someone teach you how to handle this many people at one time, like that's all I would have had to do.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times we're afraid to ask for help, or think we have to figure it, like it's a complete misconception that entrepreneurs just woke up with that information in their mind.
We just came out of the womb like this.
Like I read at least a book a week. I listen to an audiobook a week. I listen to tons of podcasts. I have great calls with you and with some other friends. And now I'm in my other coaching group. And like we spend a lot of time working on this part so that we can help people. And it's when you reach out and ask for help that you change, you up level, you.
No, I did you guys hear what she said? She reads books. She listens to audio of some sort, whether it's a video or it's a podcast. She's in courses. You're in Francie's mastermind, the initiative mastermind. You're in a coaching group. Like all these things, you don't have to do all of them, but you have to just start. And where you're at might be listening to a podcast on your commute and saying, instead of saying you don't have time, or reading for even 10 minutes in the morning first thing, just to get your mind state right. It's like all those little things that compound over time. And one of my favorite teachers, John Maxwell, talks about that, and he calls it consistency compounds. If you start doing all those things, just one small thing every single day, think about next year at this time where you're going to be at. Like, don't discount those small little things, because we tend to get stuck in this perfectionist mentality, which is self-sabotage. So if you're procrastinating and you're not taking those steps, that's something to look at, because it's not that you're lazy. Sometimes laziness is something, but it's usually because you're fearful. You're fearful of what the unknown life that you could live will look like. But having people in your corner, even if they're virtually, even if they're in your ear, is going to help propel you so much further, because you're going to see what's truly possible versus the impossible mentality you might be in right now.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's actually what I teach in my coaching groups, is like when I'm focusing on nutrition, a lot of people have the mentality of like, I'm going to start on Monday and it's all or nothing. And I'm helping them shift that to, it's just take it meal by meal. At this meal, I'm going to eat this. And if you decide to eat something different, get back on track the next meal. Don't make it an entire week before you have to start all over. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Yep.
And that's the same way with personal development. If you miss a day reading, read the next day. Don't think you have to make it. Because I did that for a lot of years. I thought it had to be this routine that's check marked and everything's perfect. And I have a form that I fill out. I mean, it's a form of procrastination, creating all these things you think you need to do. And really, my Kindle is always sitting right next to me. And if I have a few minutes, I pick up and read my book or whatever, and just fit it in where you can.
Well, and I think that breaking up with the all or nothing mentality is such a huge shift too. And also, I think breaking up with people pleasing, because we've both done that, and we're like recovering people pleasers. We feel like we have to do all the things for everybody else, when in all reality, sometimes like it depletes you. And we're both introverts, so we have to pay attention to our energy with that. And you got to make sure that you're okay first, so you
Right.
can be the best mom, you can be the best wife, you can be the best coach for other people. And so how do you make sure that when you break up with the people pleasing, that you are good first? Like, cause when sometimes we get scattered and we're like, oh, I need to get grounded. What's your steps with that? Or how do you just make sure you're good?
Yeah, so I do have some pretty firm boundaries. I am a scheduler. I have to have a schedule and I don't like last minute changes. I'll be flexible if I need to, but for the most part, I need it on the schedule and then I'll be glad to do it. But if somebody's wanting me to do something last minute and it doesn't fit with what I already have going for the day, then that's not a good attitude to have.
Mm-mm.
So I'm definitely very firm with my boundaries. I protect my sleep and my bedtime routine because I know I need a lot of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't stay up late. I make sure that I get to bed on time. It probably helps that I only have one child. I don't know for those that have more than one. I think that would be a little difficult for me just because I need so much time to myself to feel like I have the energy to give it to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time like walking. I love to be outside and I walk a lot and hike and then also just calls with like people like you or some of my other friends we have the same kind of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That
Well,
helps.
that's the biggest thing right there too is having people, because I remember not having people and or the people, like, it kind of goes back into old mentality where you're people pleasing and you're having conversations with people that aren't your normal because you're trying to please them. But when you start finding your tribe of people that think on the same wavelength and invest in themselves and don't gossip, or they talk about things that matter or things that are actually impacting you right now, and being able to get them off your chest, but it's a two-way street, it's not a one-side relationship.
Right.
I think that's a game changer too. So you want to surround yourself with people, even if they're not here. Like, you don't live in Indianapolis, you live in Illinois, and yet you can still connect in situations like this, virtually, on the phone, FaceTime. So,
Yeah, so up until a year and a half ago, I was pretty isolated because I think a lot of it was like I didn't feel worthy of a good friendship. I don't know, it's just something in me. I felt like nobody would want to be my friend and this is actually something I'm going to talk about on one of my Instagrams. I don't know why I felt that way because growing up, I always had a lot of friends, but as we got older and I think just some of the things I went through, I didn't spend time with friends. And so that's something I prayed for a long time, was like, I just wanted a few close friends. And then I figured out, okay, well, what do I want these friends to look like? And then I became that person first. I wanted to show up. I wanted my friends to show up for me if I needed them in this situation. So I made sure to start showing up for other people how I wanted them to show up for me. And now I'm at a point where, I don't mean this, I'm not trying to sound like tooting my own horn, but I'm at a point where every week I'm making a new friend that's very like-minded, and I'm almost to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm going to have them all come on the same day because I just run out of time, but I want to see them all.
mm-hmm.
And I think it all, like everything, it just all starts within. Whatever you want for yourself, like whatever you want in your life, you have to be that person first, and then those people will be attracted to you.
Well, that's the perfect segue into the last part of becoming, because you have, like, sometimes we're so attached to our bully mentality and the person inside of us that's trying to hold us back and telling you can't make friends, or you can't be a business owner, you can't be this, you can't be that we feed that. And then when we're around people that do that all day, we feed into it.
Right.
So when we break up with that and we say, no, we're putting boundaries around that and we're going to start becoming our highest self, you start talking to yourself like the person you want to become. You start feeding that person and you start starving that old bully version of yourself. And you can call yourself out on it a lot faster. And when you start feeding that becoming version of yourself, you are telling yourself and you're coaching yourself and you're cheerleading yourself into that person. It's like the most beautiful thing. It sounds so woo-woo, but it's not. It really is how it happens. Because, like, even when you and I met, we both said, oh my gosh, we were just praying about friends and we were so excited. You remember?
Yeah.
I texted you and stuff. And it's just like a beautiful thing, but you have to make room for it. You can't have both. You can't keep having all these negative thoughts. So if you can start just looking at them and saying, where am I holding myself back? And just like you said, write it down, look at it and be like, oh, like, am I really doing that? And then start figuring out how how would you be kind to yourself? How would you talk to yourself if you were coaching you, if you were nurturing yourself like you are Oliver, you know?
Right.
And that's a game changer too, because if you are harsh and mean to him all the time, he'd be like, Mom,
Right.
what are you doing?
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think just getting clear, first of all, on what you want to become, because you can't become whatever it is if you don't know what that is. And I was like, for the longest time, heard about vision boards. I'm not doing that. That's stupid. Well, I made this vision board, and within weeks, because I didn't have a clear focus of what I wanted in my life. And I think that was also part of like the frustration and the anxiety is like,
Yes.
oh, I know I don't want this, but I don't know what I want. And it's impossible to get anything different until you are clear of where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I made this vision board, and within a week, like 5 of the things just like were in my life. And I'm like, well, I mean, I think that because I got clear, I directed my attention to, working on those things. And now I haven't looked in a little bit, but over half of it's in the works. And I had a post on Instagram where like we had been planning on building our barn and like all these other things. And I dreamed them all, but they did not know they were all going to happen on the same day.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. But that's the other struggle that I feel like a lot of people get stuck on is, how do I know what I want? How do I know where I'm going? How do I know, like, I'm already exhausted from XYZ? How do I even spend time on that? The easiest way to figure out what you want is by your experience of what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
When you know what you don't want, flip it to the opposite. Does that sound more like what you want? Okay, put that on your list. Like, that's going to make it so much easier. And a lot of times we're stubborn in our nature to just keep doing the thing over and over and over again, expecting to get a result and the same results happening. Like, and it's not the one we want. So if you can flip it and you know exactly what you don't want, it's going to give you clarity and insight and shed light on what you do want. And then you can continue to check in on that and then just see, like, yeah, how did I make this so hard? Why did this take me 15 years of my life to figure this out? But you're going to appreciate it so much more.
Well, and I also think if you just take some time to get still with yourself, you know what you want a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might not know exactly what you want, but you have a rough idea of what you want for your life or how you want to feel. I mean, I would expect most people want to feel healthy. They want to have energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't feel that way, who do you need to become to feel that way? So that's what I like to teach my clients is like, you have to start acting like that person today. You can't wait to feel like a healthy person until you're healthy. You have to start making the decisions that the healthy person makes. And that's how you become a healthy person.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that whole mentality of doing that is, I've learned this is so far off for people when you've been treating yourself poorly for so long that you can't go to that positive mind state yet. You just have to get neutral. And so neutral, you're not beating yourself up anymore. And as soon as you stop doing that and you call out the bully and you're aware of that, that's a huge first step. It's similar to, okay, you want to deep clean your house. You want all this new furniture in your house. You want to decorate everything. But you have to get rid of stuff you've had since high school first, or else you're just going to have all of this stuff and you're going to have things and you're going to be tripping over things. It's just going to be too much. But if you get rid of and you deep clean and you donate and all this stuff, you're going to make room for all that you truly do want. And sometimes that involves friendships. Sometimes that involves relationships. Sometimes it involves just the thoughts in your head. But if you truly want a different life or an elevated life, you have to get rid of things. Right. And that's painful too. Especially when you've known those people or those things or those thoughts that are like comfort blankets.
Right. Yep. And I actually teach something very similar. It's like, I call it like the scrub, like the life scrub. Like, you're going to go through and you're going to look at everything in your life. And is that something you want to keep, or is that something that we need to shift or get rid of? Mm-hmm. Because you can't, like you said, you can't have the same decor in your room while having the old decorations still hanging on the wall. You can't be this new person while you're still holding on to the beliefs or the thought processes that have kept you stuck. Yep. And so, you're right on there.
Guys, we've got a deep clean detox.
Yep.
Scrub. Okay, so we both truly believe in starting with where you're at, and we have some free resources for you. Ashley, what do you want to offer them or point them in the direction to for a little bit more insight and coaching or free?
Yeah. So right now I'm running a free nutrition group. It's focused on the ketogenic diet, but I also have essentially, I just believe you should eat real food. And so it's going to teach you how to track your macros. But if you don't want to do low carb, you can totally adjust that to just eating a wholesome, real food diet. So that would be at shegrewild.com/keto class, keto-class. I know we can put the link below.
Mm-hmm.
Or just at She Grew Wild on Instagram. If you want to send me a DM, I'd totally love to hop on a call and just.
Next to her name.
Yep, that's my name. Just hop on a call and we can dive deep into, like, if there's one thing you need help with, just kind of shifting your mindset on. That's my favorite thing to do. Is sometimes when you're so close to the problem, you don't even know what you're trying to change, or you can't see what needs to shift. Mm-hmm. But when you work with a coach, and that's what they do, that's how you make, like, overnight, you can make drastic change.
Yes. So guys, check her out. I've been on her video live with her before over there too. So you can have double duo. And then for me, I have something for any of your people that have never met me before. Yeah. I work a lot with relationships. So the relationship you have with yourself and your romantic relationships, but it starts with you. So I have this beautiful little, it's going to probably be backwards. The backwards. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But on my website at megachurch.com, this is the Body Battle Breakthrough Kit. So all you got to do is go on there, name, email, and it's a 3-part series. There's a cool 30-day PDF journal that goes on there that's going to really help you reform habits that actually serve you and are going to serve that highest becoming version of you. And, just invest that little bit of time in yourself. It's a free thing that only takes up some of your time. So if you can envision on both of these things being in a different spot next year or even next month and where you're at right now, why wouldn't you?
I think you just said something really important there. If you're not ready to financially invest in yourself, invest time in yourself, because ultimately time is our most expensive currency. And if you take just an hour a week, even, you're going to see a change in your life, and you're going to want more, and you're going to want more, and you're going to get to the point where you're really happy with who you are and where you're going. And yeah.
What you said too is what I used to tell clients when I was training them. Like, it's a mindset thing. Guys, we just have 15 more reps. It's just another set. It's just an hour. It's just an hour, guys, over the whole week, if that's what you want it to be. So again, sometimes you got to coach yourself, guys. It's just, workout. It's just this healthy meal. And then soon your body's going to adjust to the just. Ooh. Any other last minute tidbits, takeaways, anything, comments, questions, concerns?
No, I love what you're doing. I love that self-sabotage is totally something that I think everybody has some form of, and it might not appear as self-sabotage, but you could come up with 15 other words for it. And when you truly get clear on what it is that's holding you back, that's how you bust through it.
Yes.
So
what's that quote that Francie had that she had talked about, that like once you have, I'm going to butcher it, once you figure out how to break down the door, you want everybody else to learn how to do it too, or something along that line.
I don't remember it, but I know yeah.
Same kind of thing. When you learn something that really truly helps you become a better, more healthy, more healed, more free version of you, you want other people to be like, come on, like, it's so much better over here. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we're so much in alignment with that, and we just want people to get better.
Right. You don't know until you truly feel better. You don't know how bad you really felt.
Yes. Well, I love you. I'm so glad that we're
Yes, me too.
Chats and talk about this stuff, and I'm excited for what you're creating and what's going to be happening this next year. So
same to you. Thanks for having me on today. It was fun.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we will talk to you later. Go check out our freebies, and until next time, bye.
Bye.